G'day, listeners. This episode is proudly brought to you by our sponsors, supshq.com.au. Use BWB15 at checkout to receive 15% off and direct shipping. G'day, guys and girls, listeners, followers, subscribers, tuner-inners. Thank you very much for joining in on another episode of Bros with Brains. This time coming to you from Post State Titles, joined by my co-host as usual, and my very good companion and colleague that attended the show for me, the Beard. How are you, sir?
The Beard. You're welcome. I was holding my drink up like a cheers, but you only get that on YouTube. Sorry, guys.
I'm going to start watching purely for the cheers. He's got a face for radio, though.
100%. Face not even mum loves, so it's fine.
What's love?
Yeah, that? Yeah. I apologize in advance if I start coughing and sound like I'm dying, because I kind of am. Pretty sure I've got mild pneumonia, but we'll be right. We push on through.
He was just cheering like a little girl.
100%. That's exactly what it was. To go to Brisbane, start dying.
Yeah.
Standard.
That's a fair cop.
Like an oath.
What you sign up for?
It's okay. It's still not COVID. I still haven't tested positive for COVID yet.
If I don't test it, I can't get it.
Well, I looked, that's my philosophy. But I did actually do a test because I obviously work in a gym. I don't want to, get anyone sick and all that sort of stuff. And so I did the test straight away. Still negative.
Is that too bright? Do you want me to shut the blind? Is that too bright? Or is that good?
That's fine.
All right, sweet.
No. So yeah, it was perfect. Still haven't had COVID. So,
Had everything else, syphilis.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I got everything else.
Typhoid.
Yeah, 100%. I got shit that's from the fucking 1700s, but that's fine.
Black plague, this guy.
Yeah. Just have not got
Spanish flu, right here.
Yeah, have not got COVID.
Remember that Ebola thing? Right here.
Yeah.
Who's got two thumbs and pig flu? This guy.
Yeah, literally. It's me. But
what happened to Zika? Where did Zika go?
Yeah, it's still around. I've got it, but still haven't got COVID, so we're good.
Back up.
Yeah. Anyway, how are we feeling post States?
Oh man, that's fucking huge. It was huge for me. That was I was content walking away. So for everyone that wasn't there or didn't watch or didn't see, which was a lot of people actually, like the messages I got afterwards was fucking insane. So firstly, thank you to everyone for just following me in SCAF. Obviously it means a lot more than you think it does, but this time versus last time, to have people in the audience, family, friends, like people that were sharing the live stream that I got to my phone after the fact, like when I got my medal, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like I didn't even know this was being streamed or you could live stream it. I didn't even know. I was just up there having fun. So for bodybuilding under 90s, I got first call outs, which is huge for me because last time I got, pretty much last, which I knew that going in, like this time was a stack up of like, what does an extra 10 kilos look like on me? And feedback from bodybuilding was basically add another 10 kilos. So as we anticipated was basically like, time is my asset. I've got the structure, I've got the shape, I've got the roundness, if you will, if I just have the time to dedicate to it. So I do. I believe I will. So knowing that, we step out of nationals now for the next 2 years with a big plan of growing. So that was the feedback for bodybuilding. Then classic physique, like
the shits and giggles category that I'll never do classic. Maybe we should do classic for fun, just because we're at the weight cap.
Honestly, I was like, I don't want to take this away from anyone or think like I wasn't taking it seriously. I take this very
100%,
obviously, but I always had a goal to hit some Arnie poses. I always thought it'd be awesome to hit some vacuums, especially training for it. Like the judges sort of said, like, we won't give you extra points for vacuuming and opens. And I was like, well, I don't want to let this go to waste. Yeah. And just the I told you so's and the fuck yous for me, of people like over the last 2 years that said, I don't have a classic structure, I can't vacuum, I won't have the mentality for bodybuilding, I won't compete ever again, it was just a one-time fad. Like, though I do it for the love of growing and progressing, those little fuck yous that I got out of the weekend was just like cherry on top for me. That was like, this is awesome. But like result wise, I guess for everyone listening, was I got first place in my division for classic physique, which was, if you saw the live stream, you could guarantee was not expected.
Yeah.
Like when I got up there, it wasn't until I looked down after after comparisons that I was in the middle.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like I was walking away from stage where I was like, oh fuck, hang on. Like there's people beside me, there's people beside me. I was like, that kind of puts me like in the
In the
middle
middle.
shot here.
Yeah.
Um and then my favorite thing was realizing that not many people could vacuum. And I was like, well, I've got
Yeah.
a pretty deep vacuum, so
Yeah.
no point going to waste there. So every chance I got, I was just like front bicep vacuum, abs and thigh vacuum, side chest vacuum. I was like, let's just throw it in. So yeah, it was fun. Feedback was basically just come in drier for nationals in the legs, keep the same fullness and condition in my upper, a bit dark with my tan, and I should be in a good position. Um, and yeah, that was just to even walk away the placing, let alone medal. Like for anyone that didn't watch, it basically went like, so the way they did it was your number numerical order for comparisons, and they took the top first call out of who they wanted, and then from there top three came back out after routines to basically just get put third, second, and first. And I was stoked when they called out number 30 and I got up there for the top three. I was like, oh fuck, I got third place here. Then they put someone else third, and I was like, wait, fuck, I'm top two. And then they called old mate, and I was like
I
you
won. I win. I win.
like, look around, like, what do I do with my hands?
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, this is like,
It's
what
like
the fuck just happened?
one of two things. It's like I win, but why do you win? Because I win. Or it's
Game
like
is this? I
you know,
win.
rat race. I'm winning. I'm winning.
Hip hop anonymous. Give him all the easy ones. But yeah, so like that for me was an unreal, like, fuck, that was it was not expected. I think that's why it meant so much. And why it was so good. But yeah, pretty much like we went straight into a dig, straight back out, got some food afterwards. Obviously, just had a good night. Put the feet up for a bit, and then it was straight back to diet Sunday. And I've been in fucking hell ever since. Like I was saying just before the podcast, last night was probably the worst I've felt so far. But it woke up, like it worked. We're at that sort of cutoff point that we wanted to get to for flattening out for nationals. Easily the best condition I've been in. Driest look I've had. Legs have come in. I've been getting massage on them, posing them, training them. Last leg session went in yesterday. Steps will go down next week. Cardio will probably back off a bit. I'm going to play so much Sony and watch so many movies. I'll be bored shitless, but it's kind of just like one more week to finish this off and see what we do, and then going and growing. So yeah, it was it was an unreal weekend. I was stoked just with call outs for bodybuilding, let alone anything else. The only, I guess, like bittersweet side was like, I think we all in agreement that Tom not getting call outs was confusing.
Yeah.
Understandably, like we knew going in that there was weight cap issues and height issues because I only did above and below for division bodybuilding, classic physique. So where usually it's like if the class is big enough, you'll have several height and weight categories. This was just above and below, and he got stacked against the fucking tall guys and some fuller guys, which made it hard for him to sort of stand out. But at the same time, like his feedback, his structure, his vacuuming, his posing, his condition, all bang on. It's just a matter of like the time allocated to growing. So for him to get a few more years, a few more kgs to max out his cap, really round out his shoulders, I think that's where I take him in the next couple of years, depending on what he wants to do after nationals. We just round the fuck out of those shoulders and sweep his legs. I think that'll really stand him out as well as having his vacuum. So that taper then will just be a big differential for him. So yeah, it was unfortunate because he, like, the guys that were in that sort of sixth and fifth position, you could have swapped. Easily.
To not be first call out was a very big weird situation there that a lot of people, even people that we didn't know, were sort of like, that's not right.
Yeah,
something's wrong there.
And this is the thing I was trying to get through to him. It's like to have every coach that I know that has nothing to do with Tom. Like they know me, so I obviously take my reviews and reflections very personally. So I was like, what do I do better? What do I do as a coach better for Tom? And we look at fullness. So we bring in a bigger pop for him. So don't take out water, keep sodium in, all that jazz. A little bit of a different loading strategy. But
it's always going to be the case. You're doing a subjective sport, right?
Like, exactly. And so that's
the risk that you run. That's like, fuck, man. Right? So you got other people judging you on what they see, and it's like, hey, they're not going to see what you see, and they're not going to see what I see. So
exactly right. So it was like, pretty much just asking them what they want next and how we can improve that, and that's what we got back. So, the fuller look with a little less vacuum is going to be, I think, his best option.
Mhm.
So we're going to run that for nationals and try and bring him in nice and full. Like he's flattened out a lot, like same as me, dug in. Giving him a trial this weekend to try a few things because he's already lean. He's already lean
Yeah,
enough.
he's leaner than
So,
fuck. Like, yeah.
like flattening out just to fill back up this weekend to trial some things, and then just dig down again, and then just fill. But yeah, like that'll be. But yeah, like to have coaches in the audience that like we know personally that we interact with that has nothing to do with Tom say the same shit we did. Okay, so it's obviously not a subjective opinion as a coach or
Yeah,
like
exactly right. Yeah, yeah,
like
100%. It's not like because it's personal, was a personal bias.
exactly. That's to me like
It's
I was trying to get that through to him. It's like it's not
yeah,
just me just trying to buddy
yeah,
up.
it's
Like, oh no,
it's
you're good.
yeah, it's not our biases coming through.
Yeah,
It's like there are
it's like
multiple people saying the same thing.
we take this very objectively when it
Yeah,
comes to bodybuilding. Like I take this game very seriously. So looking at the overall physiques and the
yeah,
packages, it's like he should have been up there.
yeah,
So
100%.
that's what we hope. I'm hoping with nationals because the crowd will be so big. Sorry, the participants, the athletes, they'll do the individual divisions as opposed to above or below. They just have to because
Yeah,
there's so many people.
yeah, yeah, it makes sense.
You'll actually get him in a weight cap that suits him.
Yeah.
So, like looking at some of the taller but thinner guys, I think he'll really pop there.
Hmm.
So that's what I'm kind of hoping there, just to give him a bit more chance to stand out, as opposed to like go against nothing but tall guys.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean his lineup was pretty stacked. It was kind of like your lineup in bodybuilding. It was pretty fucking stacked.
Oh,
Like
right.
the top three in under 90, and then like even the top three in classic for his height. Like
Yeah,
holy hell, man! Like come
yeah.
on. Like, and the thing is,
There's
you got potential. Like you do have the potential pro card options in both of those
Oh,
lineups
for
going
sure.
international. So it's kind of
For
like
sure.
you like you did well to come in at first call out,
Yeah.
and that's much better than what you did. And
Yeah.
like and Tom was honestly just unlucky because he should have been in first call outs.
100%.
And then even if he landed in first call outs, he's done sensationally well.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? He's done sensationally well anyway because we know his look is way better than what it was.
Oh, his
And
look
that's
is
what you
phenomenal.
that's what
Like,
you're trying to do. It's just obviously the placing didn't replicate or translate to the work
yeah,
and effort that'd been put in. But again, subjective sport. That's what happens.
exactly.
Like
Exactly.
it's out of
So
our control.
we just kind of take that time now in the next phase to just make sure that it's undeniable, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, so if you want a full look, we round the fuck out of those shoulders, make them 3D. You can vacuum, cool. We make that vacuum even deeper.
Yeah.
You want a bigger sweep at an X frame, cool. We make those fucking legs even bigger. Like,
Yeah.
that's just what we have to do. So,
Yeah.
like it's just a matter of it's a time game of like, can you allocate another 2 years, another 4 years, another 6 years? Which you knowing me and me knowing you, I've got that in my head. I know that I have that. So that for me is a no-brainer. The classic look, this will be the last time. And that's kind of again why we kind of pushed it
Yeah.
to give it a crack and like, hey, fuck it, they've lifted the weight cap, like let's do it. Because previously, as I've said before, I got measured actually on because we would have had the podcast before I did registration. I got measured at 175. So I'm guessing like the fat on my feet really either shrunk me down or they measured wrong. But at the same time, I was 175, and the category was above or below 175 based on your weight. So I could have done 175 at 86, or I did 175 at 89. And that was my cap. I weighed in 200 grams lighter than my fucking cap.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool, that was lucky because if I
Yeah.
had been like 174.9,
Yeah, you'd have been fucked.
I'm 3 kilos over.
Yeah, you're not doing classic.
Yeah, the dude told me, and he's like, oh, bro, you're over. And I was like, you want to check that again?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, right, okay, cool, yeah, you're sweet. It's 175 and over. I was like, yeah, don't fuck with me.
Yeah, don't do this to me now.
I already paid for this shit. Don't take it away from me.
Bad.
Yeah, so like it was just an unreal weekend. Like to have, like I said, the messages and people in the crowd, you backstage, Tom backstage. This time I really, especially because me and Tom will be doing the same categories now. Like we'll both do novice. I really want to try and get there a bit earlier, not stressed, to have some fun, fucking pump up together, get some posing rounds in. Kind of just chill out backstage here to get some shots like together, do some poses and stuff. Just kind of have some fun with it before we go into another big growth phase for 2 years. So that with, the last time I did it, there wasn't a team of people supporting me. There wasn't a team of clients, the Matter team, my family, like they weren't all there. So this time was like I don't know, like you could hear the crowd when I got on stage, which was fucking unreal. Like that to me was like,
yeah, that's pretty good.
Me like dead center, and you could hear like screams when I hit a pose or hit a vacuum. I was like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
I was like, that just feels good.
Yeah.
And I was like, you would have seen it on the poses, like when I hit the vacuums and stuff. And I just I don't want to say I knew, but like when I look left and right and no one's hitting vacuums and I'm hitting the front by at the top of my weight cap, I'm just like grinning fucking ear to ear, just got a smirk on my face. I was like,
Mm.
this is sick. This is why
Yeah.
this is like it's not so much the placing, it is like just the love of being up there and getting to do it and missing it for 3 years and like seeing the progress and shit. I was like, this is sick. So
Yeah, and like we were saying, off camera, does this mean that we can put like prep coach, prep advisor in our bios now?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what we are, right?
Yeah, I got asked when I'm going to increase my cost now. I was like,
Yeah,
oh well, first place that's an increase of 100%, right? So
yeah. And
and then
I'm
here's
I'm
the out
doing
after.
yeah, and I'm doing consults for $1,000 a pop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much.
advise. Just I'll
Yeah.
plan out your 16 to 20 weeks in a $1,000 phone call.
Supplementation and food strategies and advisory, $1,000.
US.
Yeah. It's through Stripe, so it's yes.
Yeah, US, and that doesn't include tax.
Like I was saying to you before though, it is funny how like the people like I've had messages which great, but people reaching out for like coaching or consults and stuff where it's like oh now kind of like they'll wait in the wind to see what I did
Yeah,
almost like they're like oh let's see how it
that's
stacks
how
up.
he goes. Yeah, how he
And he
goes.
backs his word. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, regardless of whether I back my word, I did what I said I would do, which was make stage
Mm.
and make my weights and make my categories. The only things I promised were a 30-inch waist with a vacuum and better condition I've ever had. I did all three of those things. So
Yeah.
regardless of my placing, I did all those.
Yeah.
But it's like they're kind of like waiting in the distance, I guess, just like, well, let's have a look. Let's see if he actually does anything. And then like, like I said, regardless of where I place, that doesn't mean I know fuck all. That doesn't
Yeah,
like
it's true.
doesn't mean I know or don't know anything. Like that's just a reflection of what I did. It doesn't mean that I know what I'm doing. But there's like, hey, I'm keen to like when do you open up your books again? Oh, well, fucking after nationals, I'll ease up. But yeah, it's just funny. That's like you could have got the same result from me 6 months ago as whether or not you did it.
Yeah, well, it's just funny because remember, like I was saying too, it baffles me when I guess when people look for coaches in general, you usually would go like you go to like a coach's or a potential coach's Instagram and you go through their Instagram and you probably see client results and stuff like that, right? I feel like it's what most people look for. So it's like the person getting the result, you think you'd go to that coach because that's the coach who got the result or helped get the result.
Yeah.
That's why it always baffles me. It just makes me laugh. And it's the same in powerlifting. Like so many people go to like really strong ass powerlifters for coaching, and you're like, they pretty much followed the program their coach gave them.
Yeah, right.
Not go to the coach
This
who
is a
programmed
strategy.
them. Yeah, like the person who looked after them. Not to say that they probably wouldn't be a good coach or anything. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Just the thought process is funny. You're like, wouldn't you just go to the one that they go to? No?
It's like I would always like kind of like analogy it as you wouldn't go to Michael Schumacher and be like, hey, fix my car. You go to the mechanic.
The guy that fixes his car.
Pit crew. Like you guys know cars, right?
Well,
like,
yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm sure like an aviation pilot understands his plane back and forward, but he's not an aeronautical engineer. I'm probably not going to get him to fix my fucking plane.
Yeah, you don't go to Big Ramy for coaching. You go to Big Ramy's coach for coaching. I mean, you know what I mean. Like the concept.
The people that think like that's a whole nother laugh. People that will use like a pro level bodybuilder that's doing like the isolated novel exercises to get that one last bit of muscle out that they haven't quite grown, and then being like, oh, but Ramy does Smith like Jefferson deadlifts. Like I'm gonna start doing them. As like, bruh, he didn't do those at the start of his career to get that big. I'm sorry, but no.
Yeah, well, Nick Walker tried to do.
Well,
Nick Walker was doing sideway hack squat with a fucking weird coach, and then went back to his old coach, and now he's back to normal.
No, that was under Jensen.
Nah, it wasn't. It was under the other guy.
No, that was Jensen.
Nah, the other one. The other one. He was his new coach, or his old new coach. Yeah, whatever his name was.
I could have sworn. No, that was Jensen.
Nah, it was his other coach. Jensen would never give him that. Don't get me wrong, Jensen's got some interesting practices, but he doesn't give sideway hack squat, bro. It was the other guy, the one after him, and then he went back to Jensen.
Yeah, Jensen.
Anyway.
Yeah. So that's kind of I guess a wrap up of the weekend, and we've got like a bit of food today just to brush off some fucking exhaustion. Oh, fucked.
Yeah. And for those listening, I did play Brisbane Golf Club. Oh yeah, on the Sunday, played 12 over. It's a great round. Played with two old guys and one of them, his 16-year-old granddaughter. She came second in our round. She beat the two old guys. She's actually a pretty good fucking player. They were playing in the comp and I was just playing social round, but I beat them all. It's fine. These things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Belted a 305-yard drive.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
I don't fuck all about golf, but I know that's pretty good.
it was fucking pretty far. It was like, I just remember the hole. There was water on the right, the big fairway on the left. I'm like, I'm going to go over that tree on the corner of the water. And if it goes right, oh, well, it goes in the water. If it goes left, I'm sweet. Straight over the tree in a straight line. I'm like, yep, birdie. We're coming up. Birdied the hole. It was great.
Yeah, so you'll be back up here
Tuesday.
Come hang out. We'll start loading again on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Bring a nice dry look. And I'm gonna do my absolute best with my fucking feet up and do fuck all steps, do no leg training, let it wash out, and then we assess feedback after that, which we know is going to be size and condition. So,
well, we know it's size for bodybuilding, not necessarily for classic.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Well, yeah. Going by feedback for classic, I was exactly what it needs to look like, which is
it's perfect.
Well,
it's kind of like you got first. Can't get better than first.
Yeah. I should have. I didn't know how registration worked on the day because I got asked if I was going to do other categories, but I was like, "No, I'm done. I had fun. Like I'm pretty sweet. Like but then seeing the guys who went on to do novice and stuff, that like the guys that I placed against in my category end up placing pretty well in the other categories. So I was like,
yeah, you would have done quite well.
Yeah, probably should have done those as well, but
it's all right.
Is what it is. I'll make sure I do enough categories in the coming show. I could do novice bodybuilding. I think I'd like to see how I stack up against like different weight categories and different looks, but at the same time, it's kind of just like I know what the feedback is, so it'd just be trying to steal a ribbon for for no extra.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. We know that both of them, we know that obviously classics just for fun, but you're at the perfect sort of look and cap for that. Whereas bodybuilding, we know it's just time and size.
Yeah, it's just that density and maturity look that I've got to edge out with a few more years of growing. Like bring on my taper with an extra 10 kilos and I'll be pretty happy.
Yeah.
I say that, but I won't be. I'll get to 100 and I'll be like, oh, I'm fucking small.
I want to be 110. I want to be 120. I want to be 160. I want to be 200 kilos.
130. So yeah, that's it's like coming up like it's gone fucking quick. Like that's what I was sort of saying when I won't lie if I didn't say that I thought about like is the next 2 weeks worth the exhaustion with clients and check-ins and stuff like that. But at the same time, like they all knew what they signed up for and they've all reached out and said like we know where you are and what's going on. So it'd be silly not to do it. So I was like,
100%.
Like I always said across the prep, if it got to a point where it was affecting clients, I'd pull out. But it's kind of like they've all bared with me through this. Like, what's another 2 weeks? And they're all getting their results and stuff anyway. Everyone's up to date, check-ins are done. So it's kind of like I think I've earned a bit of a week off regardless.
Like 100%.
4 or 5 years without a holiday. So
let's just do it and knock it out.
Knock it out, finish it off, enjoy, put my feet up because I probably won't do that again for another 2 years.
And then we'll do a girls trip.
I'll do a girls trip.
We're
girls. A month training living in Bali.
Yeah, Bali. I'm down. Let's go.
Oh god, that'd be so much fun.
Send it.
But yeah, so now we've got nationals in what? So this time next week we'll start loading up.
Yeah, 10, 12 days. 10 days?
I think it's like 9 days.
Oh yeah, today's Thursday. Fuck.
Yeah, I know, right? Like
shit, time flies.
Done, so
9 days, 8 days, 9 days.
Going into Friday, which will then take us to like Rego Day again. So probably got like what another 5 days of digging. That's kind of it. And then it's like that's the season done. I won't be in this cut position again for a little while. So
get all the photos, all the photo shoots.
Got a photo shoot booked in tomorrow. Phil's got like 2,000 photos from show day and
new profile photos coming up.
Brooklyn's got like 10,000 on the camera. All my check-in videos, posing routines. Like there's a few cool things I want to do. Like I want to sort of get like a transitional, do my routine like a warehouse, a car park, a rooftop, and just kind of like transition them over, like just little cool shit like that. Just where the editing is the fun part. And just sort of like have that content there for, when it gets to that point where I'm a bit softer and we start to see the 120 look, and it's like, I still know what I did. I still was able to get that lean. I know you all like to correlate leanness with coachability or coaching skills, so we did do that. And then I'll have that reflective point next prep to go, hey, this was me at 89. This is me at 99.
Yeah, exactly right. This is gonna be good.
It's gonna be so much fucking fun. Oh god, I'm so excited. Like telling my mom, getting my mum's head around the fact that at 5'9", 5'10", I'm going to be 110, 115, 120 kilos. She's like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, in a healthy condition, like I'll be leaner,
Yeah.
but I'll be 120. She's like, at your height? Yeah, yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Watch.
I'm not saying the average height of Mr. Olympia is 5'10", but I'm saying the average height of Mr. Olympia is 5'10".
Hercules, Hercules.
Doing muscle. Me at Christmas.
Should we get into questions, good sir?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
Bit of
let's do
water.
it. What do we got? So to start with, optimum amount of gym sessions per week.
17.
I was going to say 17 per day, but that's fine. I mean, really, there's no true optimum sessions per week per se. If you're looking for a growth side of things, you're looking at there is a threshold of minimum sets per body part that we can work with, but then that's also then dependent on effort levels or intensity of said set. The more intense you can train and the closer you can train, I guess, to failure, the less overall sets you need per body part per week, because then you wouldn't recover from them if you train a little bit with less intensity and less effort. You'd probably require a little bit more sets per body part per week.
Health adaptation through set volume as opposed to intensity.
Yeah, so we know that the minimum set threshold is sort of that 8 to 10 sets per body part per week. So if you break up the body part into like 8 body parts that you're training over a set week and you're doing 2-3 sets, you're looking at that sort of minimum 80 sets per week range. And then you can always adjust sets based on effort levels and that sort of stuff, or what needs more volume and that sort of thing.
I've really enjoyed pre-tapering sets for clients before they even get the program. So I'm fucking you up if we're doing a shoulder block or an upper block, something like that. One of my guys, yeah, like his legs are just phenomenal. So I was like, why waste set volume and recoverability on 2 or 3 leg days when your upper body's what's lacking? So, there's 5 days of training there. We're also going to allocate those extra sets. Like I've just kept his legs at MEV or maintenance volume, and just sort of kept that because we know that stimulus to maintain muscle is much less than stimulus to grow muscle. So keeping that sort of lesser range and just putting the remaining sets through the upper body and just fucking it up that way, and it's working. It's fun. It's enjoyable. It's like less stimulus on the legs, gives them a chance to recover those and back off those for a little while, and then just destroy the upper body.
Yeah, I tend to actually, most of them, whenever I get a new client, I tend to actually put them on a lot less sets. I think I put them on about 60 to 65, but I ask them to train with a big effort level. So it's like that RIR1 type scenario for nearly every exercise. I find because they haven't really trained to that point of effort, or often enough, they get a result, and then I don't have to titrate their sets too much. But then if I want to, I can also increase sets where needed to obviously bring them up to that sort of minimum. But I mean, it's not necessarily needed all the time, which is good.
And you also got to look at like I think I've talked about it before. I like looking at what's optimal and working back to the client from there. Like it'd be great if we could all do 6 days a week and have fun with that, but can Karen do 6 days a week? Have 3
exactly right, and it's going to be managed on the client's schedule and all that sort of stuff, right? Like life happens.
Yeah, and that's where I think evidence based has to meet client centric. Is that we can use the evidence to find optimal and then find where the client is and match.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, how many rungs down the ladder can I meet you to get optimal to also what you can actually do? It's like no point me setting you a 6-day program and saying this is the best way to get your result, and you can only do 3 or 4.
Yeah, 100%. You've woken up as Aranette and Benjamima. How do you spend 24 hours as a female?
I'm going to town. No.
Yeah.
I'm a dude. No.
I'm definitely touching my boobs.
I'm just going to sit there doing this all day.
Yeah. I have got a lovely bunch of coconuts. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'd probably walk around telling every other girl that being a girl is easy, just for fun, just to stir up some trouble.
Or just like make up random gossip about other women and just like start. I don't think I do it for 24 hours. So 24 hours is mischievous as fuck.
Like I don't know what like. Is it like you're a female and you have like still the male mindset? Like is it just a male brain?
A female body?
Yeah, like you know what I mean. Like I don't know. Like changes a lot of things because I'm still like a dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like, do I still have my strength? I'm just gonna go in and bust out a workout and just be like, everyone be like, what the fuck? That chick is strong as fuck.
Yeah,
It's like,
trans.
yeah. You
All
can't
I
assume by
see.
gender, it's 2022. Yeah, I mean,
I don't
like,
know.
I'd probably just
I
stir
couldn't actually.
trouble. I'd really just stir
Oh,
trouble.
I'd stir the fuck out of trouble for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I'd just be saying like, oh, PMS is easy. Like, I'd just
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
stir up some shit.
Oh, you girls gain weight on your periods? Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, yeah.
Pussies.
Literally. Um, how do you stay up to date with current research? Well, I mean, I do follow obviously a lot of researchers on social media. Makes it much, much easier when they do release papers.
Yeah.
I have signed up to a couple of websites that send me papers when they come out relevant to the fields I'm interested in. So that's usually the easiest way to do it.
And the joys of uni membership is your library access online gets you access to every paper ever released ever.
Yeah.
And anytime anything's updated, the journal, you get access to it through your university registration. So that's always handy. I think the thing is too is to like the problem I find is when people say they stay up to date with relevant literature is they don't know how to critically think and analyze the literature. They don't know how to actually like diversify it to the populations they work with.
Yeah.
Like we can
But
see this, what there's this population and it says this, okay, but you work with these people, so does it cross correlate? Does it actually?
yeah, and like, is it valid for application?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Like, is it a a lab focused clinical control study that you're trying to apply then to real world realities like
Yeah.
a gym and stuff like
Yeah.
that? So,
Is it performed on a rat? Because then it doesn't count on a
yeah,
human. Like,
yeah.
basic shit.
If you run on a fucking treadmill all day and that's all you do, and you just run on a little fucking wheel, it doesn't
Yeah.
look like that much.
100%. What are valid reasons to start using PEDs?
All of them.
Yeah, I mean,
What's
valid
the reason not
reason.
to?
Yeah, I guess valid reason's an interesting one, right? Because it's always subjective to the person.
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, if you're in participating in a sport that, if you wish to be elite, requires you to potentially be on PEDs, well, I mean, there's a reason, provided you're good enough to get there or close enough to get there. Otherwise, it's probably not worth it. Do you have hormone issues with deficiencies? Worth potentially starting TRT, HRT, which in essence is PED usage, I guess.
Do you have the moral acceptance to do it, knowing that it may be taboo or frowned upon? Are you comfortably emotionally sound with making those choices and accepting the consequences?
Do you want to be a mad dog? Just do it.
Stronger, faster, smarter.
Yeah,
like, you want to have less emotional issues.
Yeah, well, so it's just I don't think there is a truly valid reason to do really anything, right? It's just if it's valid to you as an individual.
Subjectively, there's can you validate the reasons why you want to use it? I think.
Put it this way: if you come to
like with something as arbitrary and subjective as that, don't seek validation or answers from other people. You have to look inside yourself and see what it is you're trying to do, and the long-term process. Are you committing to this? Which is why I push all my natty guys to train for a long period of time before we even consider like discussing it. Or know that you've trained hard enough for long enough that you think, okay, I actually want to do this for a while. Because once you make that, once you sell your soul, it's kind of like, that's it. Now you're dancing with the devil. And you have to be willing to accept that consequence. And once you do, I think it's a lot easier. When people try and like, it's why I get so many issues with fake natties and like wannabe Psalm goblins and shit, where it's like you're trying to do every dance around the fact that you want to use, and it's doing all these other health consequences anyway. At least these ones, we have human trials or stuff that we can study and objectively apply and control, which will make it safer, but you're trying to do it every other long way around. And you're still technically trying to get the same results. It's like, you obviously want to do it. You're just finding ways to try and keep natty status, which no one gives a fuck about. It kind of comes down to you.
Put it this way: if you come to me and ask me personally if we're doing a consult and you're wanting to potentially do PEDs and that sort of stuff, I am probably going to be the person who turns you away from it. I'll ask you a ton of questions, probably get a little bit deep, a little bit more personal, to see if you really want to do this, because most of the time it's for a very, very shallow reason. And that reason doesn't usually hold up over the period of time. So we tend to turn most people away. And I'll tell you now, I've turned more people off using PEDs than on using PEDs because I do not encourage the use of PEDs, even though most of my business is involved with PEDs in a sense.
If you're going to do it, at least like we can mitigate and be smart about it regardless.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the main thing. That's the difference there, as opposed to like coaches who will send you full send because that's all they know. At least there, we kind of like the moral conscience kicks in. Like, hey, there's actually a lot more to this than you think. It's not just simply like start stabbing your butt cheek. Like you actually have to weigh up the pros and cons. Like I can tell you the minute that a friend in quotation marks decided to do it, and he had just had a car accident and nothing else worked and nothing else was helping him, and depression had kicked in and suicidal tendencies had kicked in, and like the pain was not subsiding, and the desire to recover, rebuild, push muscle mass again, get stronger, fix things, and then the love of competing kicked in. Like all those things led to that friend of mine wanting to do them, and it was a very long, drawn out, internalized conversation. It didn't just happen overnight and be like, oh well, he's going to full send now. You've got to actually have those conversations, and especially if you're like we've talked about, if you're in relationships, if you've got partners, friends, family, like the taboo around it, you're not going to have family that encourage it. You're not going to have friends that support it.
Exactly.
You're going to have people try and talk you off it. So you have to be pretty set in your ways and like what's the word? You have to be very persistent in your beliefs and the vision that you have long term to sustain it. Otherwise, it gets pretty hard to be told all the time that you're fucked up, there's something wrong with you, you're an addict, you do XYZ, and especially by people that don't actually know anything about it.
Yeah, they don't get it.
Yeah, they don't get it. That's why it gets so hard. Is like you're being told you're the XY, this, that, and the other, and XYZ, but they don't actually fully comprehend it. So you got to be prepared for those conversations. 100%. And the people that care about you actually have to sit them down and say, hey, look, XYZ, this is what's going to happen. This is what I'm doing. Your opinions are relevant. I don't need you to encourage me or whatever. I just need you to, understand. Otherwise things get very fucked up.
No wrong. What else do we have on here? Let's go to the other page. We did have a couple.
I love how I went 2 weeks in a row and nailed it, and then I didn't put a post again this week.
Yeah, I know. One job. Pick any two people from history to fight each other. No rules. Steel cage match.
Oh, any two people from history. I mean, like 1-to-1 combat. Like I know, like you're gonna think people are gonna think like boxers and stuff, but
no, I'd be like Genghis Khan versus someone.
You're going some like
versus Alexander the Great.
Yeah, you're going some like fucked up knights type shit. Like some dude seen some shit.
Yeah. I'd do that. Genghis Khan versus Alexander the Great.
Yeah, two like top tier world leaders of their time.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
No, actually, no. You know what? I reckon go full Ragnar, like Ragnar Lothbrok, and I want to see like a Ragnar Lothbrok, just full brutal fight style, shield and axe, versus like a
John Wick.
He's got a gun, like just got a fucking like M16. No, like you're going like
Conan.
Like Knights of the Three Kingdoms, like a Chinese era, like spear warrior kind of shit. Like they got like all like
the last samurai.
The Last Samurai, yeah, like full like going
good Tom Cruise. Let's do this, bro.
Yamamoto, what's his name? Mitsubishi. Yeah, it's Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi was a swordsman.
I can't remember.
The Lore of the Five Rings, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. I can't remember. I don't really know much about Japanese.
Yeah, like watching like a curved blade, like a steel blade, like a samurai sword, fighting against like a brutal fucking like
just an axe. Yeah, an axe and fucking
full berserker mode, fucking shit up. I'd kill to see that.
If we have bis, tris, and quads, do we have monoceps as well? No. No, we don't have monoceps. That's not a thing.
Terry looked up undiscovered muscle and shoulder. I thought I made a scientific discovery.
Yeah, no, we don't have monoceps. Not a thing. Not a thing at all when it comes to muscle physiology. It's just yes.
I just call that my dick muscle.
Well, I don't think any actual muscle group there's no singular muscle group from memory in the body. Like everything's bi or more. I'm trying to think. Trying to think. I'm pretty sure that's right.
Bisexual muscle fibers.
Yeah, pretty much. They're confused. They don't know what they're
Like a
doing.
bisexual. Pieces go both ways. Yeah. We get it.
That's it for questions.
It's probably good because I'm fucking.
Yeah. We're pretty much both crashing. I think we're both dead this week. But what I was going to say is we're putting this on its own channel, so that's in the works. The only problem is, for those that are listening, we may need you to resubscribe because we're not sure if we
Like,
can
subscribe, follow.
Yeah, we're not sure if we can port over the subscribers. We're trying to find a way to do it, but at the moment it doesn't seem possible. So if we end up putting it on a new channel, it'll be with like 0 subscriptions. So we'll be getting all new data points for all the stuff. So if you are listening, just keep an eye on it, and we'll obviously put it in our stories and stuff. But
yes,
to subscribe again,
it'll be a lot more. Like, I guess getting to that point now post comp. Like, I'll be opening up coaching again probably a week or two after. I'm probably gonna have a week off just to health and life and just get some food and chill out and not give a fuck for a minute. I've been pretty full pelt for like 6 months straight, 12 months straight. But there'll be a lot more content from us on the Bros channel, actual education stuff that we're going to try and do, and be a bit more like engaging on the Insta side of things. I think between the both of us, we can figure out a schedule of activity and whatnot on there and be a bit more engaging.
Sure. We'll come together with that, and we'll do it from our bro trip. I mean, girls
Brooklyn,
trip.
make a plan.
Tell
us what to do.
Here you go, Brooklyn, and go.
Make this happen.
As always, guys, that is it from us. Questions or topics of discussion, put them in the question box that either myself, the Bros with Brains page puts up, or if Ben is feeling juicy, we'll put up on his Instagram on a Wednesday or Thursday morning, depending.
Yes.
I'm going to work it out next week. I'm probably doing the in-person one again.
Again, we'll be in person. We managed to figure out audio. Thank fuck.
We could do it Thursday if you've had a bit of food.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good idea. Won't have much on except chilling out. So,
Good work.
but yeah, for everyone listening, by the time this one comes out, the timesheet should be a little bit different. If you wanted live stream, we're just doing classic next weekend, so it'll be.
But this comes out on the Saturday before.
This comes out Saturday before, so for a heads up for the following weekend,
Okay.
that we will have, just classic. So the run should be a little bit different. It'll be later in the day, I think, give or take, because I know they're splitting up guys and girls.
Yeah, it'll be bodybuilding first.
Yeah, bodybuilding and classic.
Classic.
Get through all the divisions of bodybuilding, the overalls, I think, unless they're doing overalls later in the pro card announcement. I'm not sure.
Not sure.
I don't think they are. I think it's all in the as they did it on the state show.
Yeah, keep going in one hit.
So yeah, keep in mind that. And yeah, so me and Tom will be on a little bit later than we were on the weekend. But if you can live stream, share, tag us, I know we'll try and do something for Matter, like a giveaway or a shirt or something for whoever shared, tagged, and commented. So we'll do something like that. And I'll get Brooklyn to come up with something. Try and support everyone for being supportive.
I like it. As always, guys, that's it from us. Have a great weekend. Oh, goodbye. Peace.